Hate Army General saying hate Army shit to Hate Army. If your name is Hate Army,
the Hate Army stands with you thick and thin.
good vibes to the Hate Army. Let's talk a little bit about The Last of Us The Last of Us TV series and the series in general. Naughty Dog has announced absolutely positively the next game that they're coming out with is The Last of Us multiplayer. That will be the next thing Naughty Dog puts out. Now, for those who don't remember, The Last of Us Part 1... No, excuse me, I already misspoke. Hold on. It's very confusing, I know. The Last of Us, the first game, the original, the PS3 game, okay, had multiplayer in it. And the multiplayer was quite good, but it was very unique. It was stealth-based multiplayer, where you would kind of crouch around and make no noise, and you'd use things like the shiv and other weapons, and ammo was like scarce. So it was more about stealthy fights, hand-to-hand combat. It was a very different kind of third-person multiplayer game than anything I'd played before. I liked it. It kind of caught on to me, and I played it for a bit. I really enjoyed it, okay? So then when The Last of Us 2 was coming out, they announced that multiplayer would be part of it again, and everyone was excited. And then the game came out, and they said, all right, well, here's the deal. We didn't finish the multiplayer. We're working on it, we promise. We want to release the game because we feel that the game has enough content to warrant a full retail release. We're going to release it, but we're going to give you the multiplayer later on when it's done. So everyone's paid $60, full retail price, under the impression that when they bought The Last of Us 2, eventually they'd also be getting the multiplayer part of it, that it was just coming later. Everyone believed the Naughty Dog. So everyone bought Last of Us 2. Of course, everyone knows the controversy that happened around Last of Us 2. And within a couple months, people had completely forgotten about the multiplayer aspect, as it wasn't even a discussion. Then all of a sudden, it comes like 5-6 months later, people are like, wait a minute. Don't they owe us something? And so they started to call out Naughty Dog and saying, where is the multiplayer? To which Naughty Dog responded, oh, so here's the deal. Let's fess up. We decided we're going to make a whole game out of it instead. So you're not getting it anymore. All right? We're going to make a whole full-fledged gaming experience. A full new game that you'll likely have to buy as its own standalone game. Okay? And, we hope that you're just going to accept this. Now, here's the thing. Over the course of all that controversy that happened with The Last of Us 2, Neil Druckmann and Naughty Dog in general essentially created an almost cultish following mentality for The Last of Us franchise. If you like The Last of Us 2, you're a good person. You believe in acceptance. You believe in progress, right? And therefore, you're the good people. If you didn't like The Last of Us 2, you're one of these bigots. You're one of these people who absolutely hates progression. You don't like people who express homosexuality.
He's a fag.
You don't like strong, more manly style women like Abby.
Gays and trans whatevers.
That's the reason you didn't like The Last of Us 2. And therefore, you're a bad person if you didn't get it. You're a hater. You're just part of this hate mob, okay? Now, I wish I was exaggerating, but I'm not. That's literally what happened. There was this big polarizing part of the gaming community. One group that loves The Last of Us 2 and is, feel good, progressive agendas. And one group that's, we criticize the game, but we get treated like dirt, and you call us a bunch of haters. Now, here's the thing. There were a bunch of bigots. There were a bunch of haters. There were a bunch of scumbags. But Neil Druckmann, using his noggin, says, if I take this and I use this as my opportunity to spin it into something it's not, profit. So he made this feel-good movement. You like Last of Us 2, you're a good person. You don't like it, you're a bigot. And that very much polarized the community. So when The Last of Us 2 came out, everyone's expecting you're going to get multiplayer, correct? 6 months down the line now, the game's out, the polarization happened, the air is starting to clear, the dust is starting to settle, and all of a sudden Naughty Dog announces, you're not getting the multiplayer that you paid for, we're making our own game. What happens? Last of Us Defense Force is already established. That cultish mentality continues, so that's fine. Naughty Dog is above reproach. They made the best feel-good, amazing, do-gooder game ever. So if you are opposed to them making their own standalone multiplayer, shame on you. You're just one of these haters again. What? But they promised us a whole multiplayer part of the game. They even said at launch, don't worry, it's coming. And then they lied to us, and now they're going to sell it as something separate later. Okay? That's how this game is coming about. This is not an exaggeration. This is a factual retelling of the situation. But people don't want to hear it because they don't want to believe that this thing happened, that when it very much did. As I was someone who's like kind of standing outside of it, I'm seeing these groups go at it. And I'm like, geez, I can't believe that this is what it's become. Whatever happened to video games or entertainment, and it's supposed to be, you sit down, you pick up your controller, you just play, you have fun. It's a release for you. Instead, everything's got to be politicized. Everything's got to be polarized. There's an agenda everywhere. I hate that shit. I don't want agendas in my video game. And that's number one. I think the Last of Us series has become the most polarizing, agenda-filled game and now TV series ever created. And I don't like that. Okay? Especially because I loved the first game so much. So basically, they announced now, so our next full-fledged game will be that multiplayer game. So where's the uproar? Where's the outrage? They owe you this game for free if you bought Last of Us 2. You're supposed to get it. So is it free to play? No, they're not saying that. So, why are people not upset? You literally paid $60 to get this game, and they're saying, no, you have to buy it again. Right? Because God forbid that you criticize it. If you criticize it that way, you're a bigot. You're one of the haters, man. You just don't get it. You're not part of the feel-good cult. They're like, what? No, I'm factually calling them out. They owe us a game. We spent money on Last of Us 2. They owe us it, and they went back on their promise. False advertising. Right? But now we're supposed to forget that. And we're supposed to just buy their multiplayer game in a year when it comes out, right? And expect that it's going to be a $70 value, right? If it is free, then that's fine. You know what? Then you know what? The criticism's invalid. Seriously, if the game ends up being free to play with microtransactions and shit in it, then I guess, you know what? There's really no criticism there. But they haven't said that. They haven't said that at all. And since this is basically where they are focused on, this is their main focus. It's not like, this is a derivative project and we have other mainstream things going. They've announced this is their main project right now. This is what they're working on 100%. Do you really expect they're not going to charge for it? Let me give you an example. The Last of Us Part 1. Okay? Literally, it's the same game as the original Last of Us, with some graphical overhauls, with some minor tweaks here or there, and accessibility added in, and they charged $70 for it. If they charge $70 for a tweak job, a tweaking of a game that already exists, don't have to write, don't have to do new voice acting, they're just tweaking. Do you not think they're going to charge you for this game? So we'll see what happens. But this has been 100% confirmed. That's their next game. Now, the other thing, I talked about this at length in my Last of Us review from last night, so I'm not going to go crazy about it today. It has been officially announced by Craig Mazin, the showrunner of The Last of Us, and by Neil Druckmann. The events of The Last of Us Part 2 will not be only one season in the upcoming show. It'll be multiple seasons, at least 2, if not more. So The Last of Us 1, the best game in the series, the game that everyone admits is one of the best ever made, amazing writing, great gameplay mechanics. They just rushed through that in 9 episodes, 2 of which weren't even the plot of the game. But The Last of Us 2, the polarizing game, that one's going to get multiple seasons. Oh, I see. Gee, do you think there's an agenda there? But if you want my full take on that, go check out my review from last night over on DSP Reacts. I reviewed episode 9 and the whole series, and I talk about that at great length. And you can check it out there. I don't want to go crazy on my stream about it today. Okay?